Identity with Tayameaca. Hello and welcome to another episode of Explore Your Identity. Here we delve into conversations about different aspects of our identity, both positive and negative, that have shaped who we are today. I'm your host, Tayameaca, and I'm thrilled to have another amazing guest with me here today. I just want to say thank you to my amazing guest, Iwan Steffan. So Iwan, if you are a lover of TikTok, you know about him. He is an influencer, TV presenter, and also social media manager. Welcome, Iwan.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
Thank you for allowing this conversation on this platform.
I'm so happy to be here. I'm delighted.
How are you?
I'm really good, very busy, but very happy. And just feeling... I'm always happy these days.
Good. I like happy.
Yeah,
Great.
It's important. There's always a reason to find happiness in a day, even if you've had a bad day.
I love that. I love that energy. So, Iwan, take me back to a particular instance or memory that you have in your childhood or former years that you feel has shaped who you are. It could be positive, it could be negative.
Well, there's been a few instances what's shaped me as a person, but I always say we never learn from the good times. You only learn from the hard times.
So true.
And it is. And I had the most wonderful childhood in North Wales. English is actually my second language. Welsh is my first language. I'm very proud of my
So you're fluent in both?
I am fluent in both, so that's all I speak. And I had the most wonderful upbringing. My family, thinking back, I know no family's perfect, but my family in my head was
perfect.
I love them very much. But
good.
Unfortunately, when I was 13, my mum died. So she had skin cancer, and I'd never experienced the loss before.
Did they know back then that it was skin cancer?
Yes, they did, but it was melanoma, so it was the worst one.
Like back then, it's 1920.
Yeah, so it's like 20-something years ago, 21, I think. Mm-hmm. And at the time, obviously, it was the worst thing ever, and it was extremely difficult. And it wasn't until later years that I discovered that I learned from that. Because now when something really bad happens, I can deal with anything now. So if somebody gets sick or dies, I don't have a breakdown like I did back then because I've been through the worst.
So at 13, how did that feel?
It was dreadful, and school was incredibly difficult for me. I suffered immense cruelty through school because I was always quite feminine, so I was always getting bullied all the time. No one used to let me sit by them at lunch, so I used to sit in the cubicle in the toilet by myself. And
so where was school? Was it North Wales or Liverpool?
In the North Wales, yeah.
Okay.
So people were incredibly cruel, and at the time you don't realise why these things happen. But as I've got older now, I can deal with anything because obviously with doing social media, you get a lot of trolling and hate comments. I'm sure you know yourself.
Oh, yes.
And
how do you feel about that? Does that bother you?
Well, the thing is, I get paid for TikToks for views. So whether they're commenting good or bad, I'm making money.
Yes.
So it doesn't matter what they're writing.
I love that.
The haters,
they're interacting.
The haters are secretly paying my bills. They are. But the way that I see it is happy people don't put people down. They don't.
That is so true.
That hurt people. It's the way that it always has been, always the way it always will be. And all these awful experiences like school, my mum passing away, it's kind of shaped me to be a kinder person as an adult now because I can deal with anything. I had a really awful experience that really shaped me. So when I was 17, I was actually groomed and raped it wasn't anybody that I knew too well, but somebody that I knew a little bit. And at the time I thought I just lost my virginity because that's your first experience. But now I kind of learned what it was when I was like 28 and I freaked out and I self-medicated and I had a bit of a breakdown. But from that, I kind of went to therapy. I did the inner work because I was carrying this hate on me. And when you carry it on you, it becomes a part of you. And I realized this is nothing to do with me. It's to do with the perpetrator, the person that did it. So it takes, I've learned all about life really, is whatever that's hurt me, you have to make peace with it and let it go. And that doesn't mean all rainbows and stars and hugs. It means that you say, do you know what? I'm leaving this here, and that is the way that it's going to be.
And do you think it's the therapy that helped you come to that acceptance?
It was, but a lot of it was spirituality. So I actually read a book called The Secret. So in school, I never got no GCSEs. I walked out of them. I didn't want to do it. And I think I got one GCSE in Welsh, which in this country, it's obviously can't really use it. And I worked really poor jobs for poor money. When I moved to Liverpool 16 years ago, I struggled for a long time to the point where I couldn't feed myself. It was incredibly difficult for a long, long time.
Did you make the decision to move?
Yeah, I didn't feel accepted at home, but it's changed now in Wales. I go back and that's where I TV present, and that's where I can see the change, and that's important. And diversity is important to me, because growing up, there wasn't really any black people. There was no religion or anything like that. So I was also ignorant. So moving to Liverpool was the biggest gift, because now I have brothers and sisters from all walks of life. And the greatest gift in life is learning.
Yes.
You never stop learning. Isn't that beautiful?
It is beautiful. Take me back a minute to your childhood.
Yes.
Did you have any siblings, or
yes.
were you an only child? Or?
So I have two sisters. By now I have more siblings, but growing up I had two sisters, and they were the most wonderful, supportive sisters ever.
Were you the older one? Or?
Baby. I was the baby, yes.
So how did you all deal with the grief?
We all dealt with it in different ways. One of my sisters went to see a lot of psychics. I think the other one turned to music. So all my family are in this industry.
Yes.
So my
entertainment.
One sister's a writer, one's a performer, and
also creative industry.
Just all in the creative industry.
Yeah.
And so we all took to different things. And for a long time, I feel in some ways that grieving is a little bit selfish. It's not, but it is in a bit.
I totally relate to what you're saying.
Because it's about my pain. And really, I think now my mum would want me to be happy. That's why I was born, to be given to and I think the only way to support my mother's legacy and it is to live my best life, instead of walking around and saying, I've been through all this awful stuff. Instead, I say, I don't let this trauma define me. It made me, I'm grateful.
When did you come to that realization? Because what you've just said there is really powerful, honestly. And that's what people don't always accept about grief and understand. Maybe they lack that understanding.
I know a lot of people live in their grief, so they say, I've been through that much, and it's all they talk about. And you have to be careful, because you become what you talk about. So if you always talk about bad things, you're always going to be in this cloudy zone. But if you talk about bright things, like a bright ray of sunshine, then there's two ways you can look at life, like this or like this. And there's always a lesson to be learned.
The lesson I've got from this conversation so far is grief is selfish.
Yes.
And I can relate to that, because we're making it about us.
We are. And I think we have a right to have grief. Don't get me wrong. We do.
Of course.
But I think whenever I start feeling down about things that have happened to me, I think, oh, wait, you're making this about you now. And even with the sexual assault thing, I was paying for someone else's mistake. And then I decided not to. So all these things, even the bullying, I have nothing, everyone that bullied me in school, I have nothing in my heart but forgiveness.
Wow.
I honest to God,
what a way to live. That is amazing.
It takes work, but I honestly, a lot of people carry that hate for a long time, but we're human and we make mistakes. And, I hope they're okay. Do you know, I'm Facebook friends with a lot of them, and their children are beautiful.
So they're watching.
Yes,
That's
they are.
amazing.
But it's not. I've never thought,
not from a bad place.
No, I support them. It's we all make mistakes, and I've made mistakes when I was younger, when I was a bit nasty to people, and 20 years later, I've messaged them on Facebook and said, I'm just letting you know, I know that I was in the wrong, and I just want you to know that I'm sorry.
That's powerful.
Yeah,
you sound really spiritual.
I am.
When Or how did you connect to that spiritual side of you?
Well, I was working...
Can you pinpoint it?
Yes, I can. So I was working a really bad job, so a minimum wage job before lockdown, and someone told me to read The Secret, and I was like, I don't read books. You know, I was one of them. And overnight, everything changed. My friends, my job, my finances.
Wow.
Everything changed because I realised that I could have any life that I want, and there is no limit. So like if you want something like TikTok now, I think I have nearly 150,000 followers there, over 200 million views. And it was a decision to start TikTok. Yes, it takes skill, but I just said one day, this is what I'm going to do, and I'm not stopping until I get paid for it. So and the spirituality side of it, I just believe, I love all religions. I support all religions.
So you reckon whatever is going on in your life right now, you manifested it somehow?
Yes. Like I don't believe in God as such. However, I do believe there's a force stronger, but I'm not sure what that is.
A higher power.
But yeah, like every night when I go to bed, I write 3 good things that's happened in the day.
That's powerful.
Even if it's been a bad day.
Yes.
So even
you can always find something.
Do you know what? Even if I've been to the shop and bought some bread and someone smiles at me, that's a reason to be happy. It is.
There's a lady I listened to called Regan Hillier.
I've heard of her, but I've not heard her.
Yes, so just this morning she came up on my sponsored ads and she was talking about manifestation, and she said 80% is your mind.
It is.
And 20% is what you do.
It is.
You believe that?
Your mind is more powerful than anything else that you have. So, I'll give you an example. You know, if I wanted to go to Dubai tomorrow and I had £100 in my account, obviously you can't go with £100. If I wanted to go that much, I'd find a way, correct?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
If I wanted a hard one, if I wanted to save £5,000 in a month, hard, but I'd find a way to do it. Like whether that would be working all crazy jobs, there's always a way to get what you want. And I feel like people have a limit where like I just tell myself only good things happen to me. Money loves being around me, and success loves being around me, and nothing bad happens to me. Honestly, it doesn't.
Amazing.
And that is a choice. It absolutely is a choice. Of course, bad things have happened to me, and I do have down days, but I know that I just know that I have a great life and nothing will stop that. Doesn't matter what happens, even if I get a serious illness or whatever, I have still got a great life. You know?
I love that.
Yeah.
I do want to go deeper into some of your experiences because I think they are relevant in terms of your identity.
Yes.
But just for time's sake, I want us to do a part 2.
Yes.
I hope you'd be happy to do that.
I would be more than happy to.
Brilliant. So I'm just going to swiftly move on.
No problem.
I touched on a little bit, introduced you as an influencer.
Yes.
A social media manager and TV presenter. You've kind of spoke about it.
Yes.
Put it into context. I want to celebrate you too. Is there anything that you feel has been an achievement for you? It could be personal, it could be professional.
Well, I got to present my first TV show last year.
Eurovision.
I did. Well, yeah, I did. So it's because TikTok sponsored Eurovision. I got like invited to the live shows and stuff like that, and I got to go to the blue carpet and stuff like that. I went like as a +1 with my friend, and but it was TikTok that had invited me to the Eurovision itself, and it was just amazing because all these celebrities within the parties. It was so surreal. It was hard work, but it was surreal. And then last year, because obviously in the TV world you need agents and stuff. I do not have an agent and I don't have a manager. Every job I've got it off my own back. So amazing. I asked them, like, how did you find me to be on TV? TikTok.
That's amazing.
That for me is massive because obviously agents and stuff is what do the work. So that for me...
You're doing the work.
Yes, it means the absolute world. But I have to say this, even though I've done all these nice things, my biggest achievement in my whole life is starting a life from nothing here.
Amazing.
It was the biggest challenge because I remember my dad dropping me off and I didn't know one person. And now when I go out, it's like, hi. I know everybody everywhere. And that for me is the biggest thing. Doesn't matter what I do. My biggest achievement was starting from nothing.
Awesome. I'm going to go through my fun fashion related questions when you come back next time. But before I go, have you got a fashion related question for me?
I have. I've had a little look on your Instagram and this is a bit of a different question because I have watched your podcasts.
Okay.
What is the most controversial item of fashion you've ever made?
Wow. That's interesting because the one side is about the rough collars and the statues redress project I did, but I've covered that on previous episodes. So I'm going to talk about something else, which is a dress. I made this white dress and it was worn by a Zimbabwean influencer and her name is Katina. So this dress, Katina wore it. I'm just cutting it short because of time. Katina wore this dress and it was, because she's an influencer, a socialite known within the Zimbabwean community, and she's got her own following. Usually things go viral for 24 hours. This dress was trending for 6 days.
6 days.
And the whole community on Facebook, Instagram, we're talking about this dress. And they weren't saying many nice things about it, to be honest. They thought the dress was awful. They thought it didn't look good on her and all kinds. But if I tell you, there was another influencer that even called it a curtain and making fun out of this lace on the dress, which cost like £70 a meter.
I need to see it.
Yeah, and she was calling it a curtain. So that would be probably one of my
wow, that's so
controversial
interesting.
ones.
You're going to have to show me a picture at some point.
I will show you. But yeah, it was just crazy for a whole 6 days.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That must have been hard for you.
No, it wasn't.
Listen, any press is good press, isn't it?
This is what I always say. There's only 2 lists I want to see my name on, either the best dressed list or the worst dressed list. If I make it on any one of those lists, it means that there's something you've seen on my design and you're talking about it.
I love that so much. I think that's the right attitude.
And with that, we're going to conclude this episode. I just want to give a heartfelt thank you to our listeners and our viewers. If you found value in this episode, please share it and feel free to subscribe to our channel. Iwan, how can people connect with you?
So my name is Iwan Steffan. It's IwanSteffan. I'm the same on TikTok, Instagram, everything. And you'll know because I've got a blue tick, so you'll know it's me.
Awesome. Remember, you can find more identity episodes on our YouTube channel. We're on Amazon, Spotify, and all the podcast platforms. Until next time, keep exploring your identity. Explore your identity with Tayameaca.